Hello guys, and today I'm going to cook something from a Sainsbury's book, which is basically a supermarket here, okay? Called Kitchen Know-How. It's basically a cookbook, okay, where you basically teaches people how to cook. I already knew, but I just wanted some recipes or things that were guaranteed to be sold by Sainsbury's. Now, I didn't buy anything from Sainsbury's for this because they're too far away. They are in town, but I didn't want to catch a bus to go into town just to get it, okay? So anyway, what I'm going to cook today, guys, is something called Spaghetti Bolognese, okay? It's basically a famous Italian dish, and often a lot of people cook this when they're starting to cook, okay? They usually cook a cut down version of it, but I'm going to do what's in the book, okay? Pretty much, okay? There are going to be some slight differences. For example, they tell people to use 1 kilogram of beef, minced beef. I'm only going to use 500 grams because that's all I've got, okay? But I'm going to make up for it by the fact that I've actually got far more vegetables than they tell you to use, okay? Now, I got these cheaper because they were about to expire. So, basically I got these for 40p instead of 75p. It's celery sticks. They've been pre-cut. It was just cheaper to buy them this way. And also I've got an onion. I paid full price for that. It's just an onion. And also I've got a bag of carrots. Again, much cheaper because they were about to expire, okay? And these have already been washed. And the carrots have already been washed. It says washed and ready to eat. And with the celery sticks it tells you to wash them, but I've already done that. Okay, so now I'm going to move the onion away slightly. I'm now going to put the celery sticks down and chop them. And I'm also going to chop the carrots as well, okay? Okay, I'm just going to check something. Okay, so now first I'm going to cut some of the celery. I'm going to cut bits of this because I'm not going to bore you with me cutting all of it, okay? So I'm going to cut some of the celery. I'm going to put that in the pan, not because I want it in a pan, I've got a pan set separately, okay? Not because I actually want to put it in the pan at this time. I don't really want to put it in the pan, but that's it's just somewhere temporary for now, okay? I'm not going to cook it just yet, okay? That's just somewhere to put it, okay? So that's some carrots cut. And cut some more carrots. You might need to, I think I'm supposed to cut them smaller than this, but to be honest, I'm too lazy, okay? Because I've got so many carrots, it'll do for me, okay? But you're probably supposed to cut them much, much smaller than this, okay? Actually, while I'm at it, I could probably do a bit more, so. It's just I've got a lot of celery, and I've also got a lot of carrots. It won't take that long, actually, so. As I'm sure you should probably cut them smaller than this, but I'm too lazy. Okay? You should probably cut them something like this. Probably smaller. Because normally you'd only have about 2 celery sticks, but I've got so much to eat that, you know, it'll take forever, so. And when I eat them, I'm not going to bother because at the end of the day, I'm still going to eat them. So it doesn't matter how nicely I cooked it or whatever, it's still going to get eaten. So, you know, it's just a wasting of time. So, right, I'm going to put all that in. As I said, normally I'm aware it would be cut a lot smaller than this, okay? That's just for lazy people. I've just put it in the pan for now. Not because I'm going to cook it, because in a minute I'm going to take it out the pan in a minute, but and work out some way of doing this. Now, I'm going to get an onion. That told you to use 2 onions. Okay. Oh no, I'll do I'll do the onions, and then I'll do the carrots separately when off camera. So I'm going to do the rest of the carrots later, okay? But you won't see that, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop this. Chop the top off. Put it somewhere. And I've just tossed it onto a plate, which I'm going to use to throw in the bin. That will later go in the bin. Just take off the outside. I'm not going to be very efficient with this, so a lot of this will probably be wasted unnecessarily, but I'm trying to do this quickly for you guys. Right, so that's the outside got rid of. Now, it says chop, so I've got to chop the onion up. I'm using a red onion, but to be honest, you don't have to use a red onion. I think you're probably better off using a normal one, but just move the rubbish out of the way, otherwise it might get in here. Now, to do this properly, you're meant to use a cooker with 2 pans. I will be doing it later, but I'm doing it here because I can show you what I'm doing. And without a lot of noise, because my mum likes to watch the television and, you know, it makes a lot of noise, to be honest, okay? So, I'm upstairs at the moment, and so it's a lot quieter, okay? And I can show you me putting things into frying pans and stuff, okay? So, okay, now I should cut it a lot finer than when I'm cutting it, but to be honest, I'm just too lazy at the moment. So it's not going to be as finely cut as you possibly should do it, but you know, I'm trying to do this quickly, and as far as I'm concerned, it eventually goes into your mouth one way or another anyway, so I could spend hours and hours cutting this, but it's still going to go in your mouth. So it doesn't matter, it's only presentation, and I'm just cooking for myself, and I'm nobody else. My mum does not eat this type of food. I really can't be bothered to spend a lot of time doing some fancy presentation, to be totally honest with you. So, okay. So now move this out of the way. I'm aware you can get slices for this kind of thing. I think we did have one somewhere, but it fell to pieces, and I think Mum didn't look after it and it dropped on the floor. I've never used one, I've just chopped things manually, truthfully. I'm aware you can get these, you know, when you put them in and it chops it all up for you, but I'm just doing it myself, to be honest, okay? So, right, okay, I'm sure that's terrible, but it'll have to do, to be totally honest. I know you should cut it a lot finer, and it should be very, very small pieces, but, you know, as I say, it takes hours, and at the end of the day, it's all going to go in my mouth, so who cares, right? It's okay, right, that's chopped up the onions now. Right. Now, let's see what I'm supposed to do separately. Right, okay, I'm now going to put all this into the frying pan, even though I'm not actually going to cook from the frying pan immediately. I'm just going to put it in there, so. And the rest I'll just put in myself, okay? So I'll just move this over a bit so you can see. Right. Now I'm going to chop the rest of the carrots, but I'm not going to record that because it's just too boring. Okay, you've got the idea. So right. Okay, and now I'm going to put all of these into a container temporarily. Okay. So I've now cut the carrots, and I'm just going to put them into a container. Okay, I'm going to put everything that's in the frying pan in a container as well, okay? Hopefully it'll fit in. I'm a nasty suspicion it won't, but hopefully it will. Oh, there's one I forgot to chop, okay. Right, okay, right, there you go. Now I'm going to put all this lot in the container as well. Right, now. That's just in preparation for the future, okay? Now, I'm going to take the chopping board away. And I'm now, let's move this out of the way. Move this forward. And now most of what you'll see will be me frying, okay? So first, I'm going to fry the meat, okay? Okay, now I'm going to turn the cooker on. First, to help. Too lazy to show you me switching it on. Now, round here it's got the knob. As I turn that, you'll see the light come on here. That's showing you it's heating. Now I'm going to pour some oil into the frying pan. Now I'm going to get some mince. You see here some mince. I'm going to open the packet. And I'm just going to put all this mince directly into here. It says it's Tesco British lean beef, and I don't know if I can show you this easily because it's difficult, because well, it doesn't matter actually if I do it this way because it'll go into the pan if I do, so it doesn't matter. And you'll see I paid 65 pence instead of £2.60, so £2.59, because it's technically expired by just 2 or 3 days, okay? And as you know, I buy things cheaper usually when they're about to expire, okay? So there, we've got a whole slab of beef. I'm going to just, it's already been minced, but I'm just moving that around. And now I'm going to fry this mince in the frying pan. This may take quite a long time, so I've just shown you what I would do. I just move it around a lot. I'm not going to bore you with actually cooking it, so you're going to see me when I've actually done it, okay? But you just move it around like that a lot, okay? It just takes quite some time for this cooker to heat up, okay? This is one on its own because I can do this upstairs, okay? Just to show you guys, okay? Although to do this properly, you really need 2 hot plates, okay? But I'm doing this just because it's easy to show you guys, okay? Right. You can see now that some of it, I just left it while I did certain things, and you can see that some of it is done, some of it isn't done. I'm going to turn it over. I just left it for a while, to be honest, although you're supposed to constantly turn it. But it's good enough for what I wanted to do, so. So I'm just going to move it around a lot, and you know, so you can see the contrast between. It's not yet finished, but it will be soon. Later I'm going to put some salt and pepper into this, but you can see at the moment it's just cooking. It'll probably be finished very, very soon, this bit, so I can put that onto a plate, which is what they tell you to do. I've actually found a fault with this book, by the way. In the instructions it tells you to cook things and then add some beef stock. It doesn't actually tell you to re-add the beef, so if you followed it literally, you would put this beef on a plate and never use it, because there's a fault in the instructions, but I think I can work out what they mean. So and if some of this isn't properly cooked, it doesn't matter so much because it's going to be cooked for about an hour and a minute very soon anyway, so it'll soon be put back in with a lot of sauce to cook for over an hour, okay? So right, that's probably most of the mince dealt with, okay? I can't see any obvious raw bits, so it looks okay, I think. I'm sure I'm going to regret this, but there you go. So then I'm just going to pick some. Yep, it tells you now to add salt and pepper. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to put it on a plate like they tell you to, okay? Right, now, I have here some salt, and this is actually genuine Sainsbury's salt, okay, from a long time ago. Not really that long. I don't visit Sainsbury's that often, truthfully, anymore, because of buses and things, and I'm just going to shake in a lot of salt. I've also got some black pepper. I prefer black pepper, but you can use white pepper as well. Just going to take the lid off. And I'm just going to shake this in, just so it gets... Normally you wouldn't do it this way, but that's how I'm doing it, because it just puts a lot of pepper in. Okay, now I'm going to mix it. So I'm effectively mixing the salt and pepper into the minced beef. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it onto a plate, which is what they tell you to do. Get that separately a minute. So I have a plate here. This is probably going to be a total disaster, but I'm going to try and put all this onto a plate. I may have to do this truthfully off camera, most of it, because it'll be awkward, okay? So... I can scoop a lot of it onto there. So I'm scooping it with a spatula, but there are better ways of doing it, but not on camera. So I'm going to do the rest of it now, okay? But you won't see it. Now, the frying pan is now empty, pretty much. There's a little bits of beef in, but it doesn't matter. Now I can see it all on the plate, okay? Now what I tell you to do, once again, I'm going to turn up the cooker. Now what I'm going to do is put some more oil into the frying pan. Now, I'm going to put all the onions, celery and carrots into it, okay? Into the frying pan. Now, normally, you wouldn't have anywhere near this amount, okay? To be completely honest with you, okay? And I'm worrying about how I'm even going to store all this when it's finished. I'll probably have to use 2 containers, but we'll worry about that. I'll worry about that separately, okay? It's my problem. Okay, so now, I'll turn the heat up. I'm going to cook those, okay? As I said, normally this would be very finely chopped, okay? And I'm aware that it's not finely chopped and it should be, but I've tried to do it quickly on camera for you guys, okay? So just stir these around. This will take a few minutes, so I won't bore you. I'll return after a few minutes with the rest of what I've got to do, okay? Okay guys, several minutes later I've done that. So now I've stirred it for a few minutes, about 5 minutes. Now, I told you to put some garlic in. So I have some garlic powder. I'm not using garlic granules or any real garlic. I'm just putting garlic powder in, okay? So I'm just going to sprinkle some garlic powder in it. I'm just going to stir in the garlic powder. Not too good a job, because if you do it too much near the pan, it makes a terrible mess on the pan, I've noticed, if you use garlic powder. It might be different with garlic cloves. I haven't used real garlic cloves for a long time. I just buy the powder because it's more convenient for me. I'm probably putting a bit more now. Now it tells you to add some wine, okay? Now, this is some wine I had from a long time ago. It's cheap stuff. I don't buy expensive wine. I can't afford it. So it's just a cheap bottle. I think called Jacob's Creek. Apparently it's from South East Australia. So I'm going to put that in. It tells you to use about 100 millilitres. That's roughly a half of this bottle. I'm just going to put in less than that because I'm tight. It is nearly quite a lot, but not all of it. So I'm going to, and now it tells you to swish that around. So I'm going to swish it around a bit. And tells you to swish it around the pan. To be honest, you wouldn't normally have as much stuff as I've got in this pan. So, but for this many vegetables, so you'll probably find that it will, the vegetables themselves will absorb most of this. So, and then it tells you to add some tomato puree. Now I'm going to give you some advice thing about what, you know, how old things are. Okay, now we're currently, just to prove that it really is 2021, we're currently, you know, the world has a coronavirus problem, COVID-19. The chance of the next checker is Mr. Sunak. I think it's Rishi Sunak, an ethnic Indian that's in charge of the finance in this country, and he's recently in the budget increased corporation tax to 25%. Okay, so that's to prove this really is recent. Now this is 1 year out of date, January 2021, so it is just over a year out of date. Tomato puree. I'm going to put that in. As I said, bear in mind, only I'm going to eat this. So if anybody's worried about my mum, she doesn't eat this kind of stuff. She doesn't like what she calls weird food. So I'm squirting in a lot of tomato puree. I'm meant to squirt in about 2 tablespoons. I'm too lazy to actually measure it, so I'm just going to squeeze quite a lot out. And hope that's enough. Okay? So that's the tomato puree dealt with. Now I'm going to put in a can of chopped tomatoes. It's actually peeled plum tomatoes, but but I would prefer chopped. But it's just what they had at the time. Now what's interesting about this is this is like a proper brand, okay? And it's Napolina, which is one of the good brands. I'm not saying it's ridiculously expensive, but you know, it's one of the good brands over here, okay? And what's interesting about this is, I'll see if I can find this. It says best before and 2009, and the trouble is, it's such a shame that you can't. They can see 2009 if you look carefully. If not, you'll just have to take my word for it. It does actually say 2009, okay? And there you go. So, this is 11 years out of date. This is, yes, roughly 11 years out of date. You can see it looks like 0 and a 0. So this is 11 years out of date. This is an 11 years out of date can of peeled tomatoes, okay? So I'm going to open that up now and hope and see what it's like, okay? Move this forward, pull the ring back. Oh gee, I've just cut myself. Right. Okay, so now I'm going to pour this in. Just going to try it. Pour that in. Right, I better do it with my finger because that's more important. Okay, otherwise I'll be very ill. I'm going to quickly, I've still not perfect, but I'm going to quickly, just to show you guys, I'm risking my life for you guys. I'm trying to mix in the potatoes. I'm going to try and do this quickly. And now I've got to put in some beef stock, and which I'll do in a minute because my thing is more important. And I add something called a couple of bay leaves, so oh dear. I get some bay leaves out. I wouldn't normally like to be in this kind of mood to do this kind of thing, but I'm sorry, I'm a bit worried, okay? If things can go wrong, they will, but even I don't want to be ill. So there's 2 bay leaves, okay? Just put them in for now. I'll deal with that in a minute. Okay. Honestly, it's like a horror movie. And then I'm going to put in some beef stock, and then the beef, and then I'll worry about it in a minute, okay? Okay guys, for those of you who are worried, I've put some something called some germaline onto my finger, okay? I'll move this out of the way a minute. I'm going to do it now as well. I'm going to put the lid back on. This is nothing to do with cooking. This is just about saving my life, okay? Okay. So that's the germaline. Now, I'm going to get a plaster. Rip open. Take a plaster out. Over here we use a brand called Elastoplast. So Elastoplast is the main plaster brand over here. And I'm going to take these off. I'm going to try and put this on my finger now. So now I've got plaster on my finger, okay? Right, while it's doing that now, I'm going to stir this a bit more. I was supposed to put in the some beef stock, but my priority was sorting out my finger, okay? Because I don't want to bleed to death, okay? While I'm at it, what else am I supposed to put in here? Yep, so I'm also supposed to add in some oregano, okay? So I've got some oregano. I can never pronounce the correct names for these things. So I'm going to put some oregano in. So I'm just going to lift the lid up. There we go. It would help if I actually took off the protection thing. Okay, I forgot. Okay, sorry, I forgot to take off the protection thing. So I can see it's coming in. That's the spices. I think it's about 2 tablespoons. That'll do. I'll now stir that in. And it says add some seasoning. I'm going to do the beef stock in a moment, okay? It's just you would normally do the beef stock properly earlier, but I'm more worried about my finger at the moment, so I'm trying to put in things for now. Then I'm going to do the beef stock in a moment because it needs boiling water, you see. It's damned annoying. Actually, that is damned annoying. Never mind. Right. Okay. Right, so now it says season, so it means add more salt and pepper. So I showed you the salt earlier. Salt by Sainsbury's, so I'm going to just put salt in. Put some more black pepper in. And I just unscrewed it so I could easily put more in. Now I'm going to stir it all so that the salt and pepper are all in one place. If you're worried about my finger, look, it doesn't seem to be bleeding through the plaster, so it seems to be working. There's a little bit of blood, but it's just frustrating. But don't worry, guys. Normally I can open tins perfectly, not do something like that, but it's difficult trying to do everything on camera. And this tin, it was about 11 years old, so I'm going to try a bit. That seems okay. Now I'm going to make the beef stock now, okay? So what I do is I'm going to put some boiling water into a jug. I'm not going to show you that, it's too boring. And then basically I add I sprinkle in the it would have been a lot easier to do this if I hadn't had any dodgy fingers, to be honest, but I'm going to try and show you all this, okay? Now, so I'm going to boil some water into a kettle, I won't bother showing that, and I will then bring up the jug with the boiling water in, and I will then sprinkle some a beef oxo cube. People from Britain will know what I'm talking about. It basically produces beef stock using something called an oxo cube, okay? And it's a sort of powder. It's a sort of solidy powder which you squeeze and then it becomes a powder and you just sprinkle it in and then you stir it around, okay? You'll see that in a moment, okay? Right, now I'm going to use something called an oxo cube. So this is what they call them oxo cubes because they have OXO. Okay, on the packaging, and they say it's OXO, so there you can see it says, I know that it says OXO. Okay, here I have 200 millilitres of boiling water. You just have to take my word for that. And I'm going to take out something called, in here you have various cubes, okay, and I'm going to take out an OXO cube, okay. This is what is known as an oxo cube, okay? And it's got a silver wrapping on it. And I'm going to take the wrapping off. I'm going to do it over the frying pan because if any bits come out, they're going to the frying pan, which is better basically. So I'm going to peel this off. It's just difficult. It's difficult to do all of this. Right. Especially with a and once I've finished, I have this thing, okay? And that is an oxo cube, okay? What I'm now going to do is I'm now going to sprinkle the oxo cube into this jug of water. So I go like this and go, and now it's in powder form, and I just use a fork to beat it. And that produces beef stock. Now I have the beef stock. And now I'm going to pour this beef stock into the frying pan. And now I think that's everything apart from the beef. Now this is where it gets really, and I also want to make sure that the bay leaves at the bottom, because if they're just floating on the top they're not going to do anything. So the bay leaves come out later, okay? Now the bay leaves, if I can find them again, are something you put into cooking but you do not actually eat. You may add flavour to the food but you don't actually eat them, okay? So you throw them away afterwards, okay? Now the really strange thing here, and this is the most ridiculous thing I can see, is it doesn't actually tell you to put the beef back in again. So the beef I had on a plate here, it doesn't tell you to put back into a plate again. Now I don't think the idea is that you throw the beef away. That's silly, because that's not what spaghetti bolognese is. Especially when you look at the actual photograph they've given you of the spaghetti bolognese. I'll show you the photograph. This is in the book. And we'll show you, obviously, minced beef actually in it, as well as some. So, I'm assuming that that's some stupid typo of theirs, right? So I'm going to put the beef back in again, right? So I now got the beef that I cooked earlier on a plate. I'm just going to scoop that. Let that go straight into the frying pan, okay? Go. And now I'm going to stir the beef into the frying pan and then leave it for about an hour. And that's what they tell you to do. They tell you to stir it in and leave it for about an hour. And, you know, so I'm going to now stir this around. I'm not going to show you me stirring for an hour. It's far too boring, right? And so that is basically how to do the bolognese sauce, okay? What they call the bolognese sauce, okay? As I said, you would normally have chopped all the, you know, the vegetables far more finely than what I've done, but I'm not really bothered, you know. It takes too long, especially on camera, and it'll still go to my mouth anyway, no matter how it looks. So there you go. And this is essentially spaghetti bolognese without the spaghetti, and I now have to turn down the heat. I'm just have to take my word on this, because okay, right, so I'm going to see you guys later, okay? And then the next part will probably be me doing the spaghetti. So what I will probably do is I will probably cook this and take it downstairs while I cook the spaghetti up here. Then bring it back up again later. Okay, because you get the idea, and to be honest, it looks the same even after about an hour. So apart from perhaps the juices go down a little bit, it doesn't really ever look any different to this, okay? Right, and I just want to check I've done absolutely everything. Yes, it says 1.5 hours. So I'm going to leave it now for a while, okay? So I'll see you guys soon, okay? Don't stop watching, okay? Oh yes, guys, and I forgot to tell you, okay? You saw the cubes earlier, okay? There's 3 left. And I'm not sure if I told you this, but these are actually out of date as well. So you'll see that it says December 17. Honestly, I did put this one in. Take my word for it. You can probably see the carton is, looks ripped in the same places. You can tell it's the same one if you try hard enough. And with big up and other things on, and it is December 17. So this is approximately 3 years out of date, okay? But as I said, it doesn't matter, okay? Right, guys. It hasn't finished cooking yet, but I'm now going to move most of it into a container, okay? Now, earlier, I took out the 2 bay leaves. You're not supposed to take them out until the very, very, very end, but I've just taken them out just now. So, because I had to find them, I didn't want to spend ages showing you me looking around the pan, the pan for the bay leaves. So these are the 2 bay leaves that they were in earlier. I've just taken them out, and I'm going to put these into a container. This is something happening for future days, okay? And now, I'm going to move this out of the way. Normally you should be very careful how you do this, because it can be hot, okay? I'm just going to carefully move the cooker out of the way. That's the cooker. Now I'm going to pour most of that mixture into here, okay? Oh God. I can do it without a camera, but it's just difficult to do it with a camera, okay? Oh, you pig. I have to do it like this. I must admit, I'll do it with the left hand. Normally I would do it with the right hand, but I didn't want to use the right hand because I'm not very well, as you know, so that's going to be easier. I'm going to leave some of it left in, okay? And that's what I'm going to eat, okay? Oh, God. Some of it's gone over, so I'm going to have to sort that out. Right, okay. So now it's in here, okay? Right. Right, so now you'll see I have the, I have about roughly 1 portion in here. Right, left in the frying pan. And the rest of it I'll put into this container, okay? Now I'm going to put the lid on. And I clamp it in. That's now airtight. Then I wait for it to cool down, so take it downstairs, leave it on the table, and wait for it to cool down, and then put it in the fridge. And then the next day, I get it out, reheat it in a frying pan, and cook the spaghetti, okay? And now you're going to see me, I'm going to now, and take this frying pan downstairs, I'm going to put it on the other cooker, the normal cooker that you may have seen me use normally, and that's just to keep it warm, while I now cook the spaghetti up here, okay? So now I'm going to move. So be very careful when you're moving a cooker, okay? I don't recommend it, but I know what I'm doing, okay? Right. Okay, so as I said, I'm now going to take this pan off. And I'm going to put a saucepan on with some boiling water. I'm going to boil some water, pour it into a saucepan, bring the saucepan up. And then I'm going to put some spaghetti in, okay? Okay, there is now some boiling water in the pan. I have some spaghetti. This is a Napolina brand, which is quite a good brand. Often I bought these when they had a sale on. Okay, it's one of the good brands over here, okay? But I got it when there's it's not ridiculously expensive, you know. But this is spaghetti, okay? Okay, right, anyway. So I'm going to put some spaghetti in here. Now, if you're lazy, you can just break it up and put it straight into a pan. It's actually easy to do that. So it's actually easy to just break it up, snap it. But I'm not going to do that. This snapped by itself, and I didn't intend it to. So that snapped. So just to show you what I mean, it will easily break. But that's not what I intended to do. It's because it's cheating. So this is how you're supposed to do it, okay? In my experience, okay? First of all, I'm going to put any little bits in first like that. Now what I'm going to do, these have not been snapped. So these have not been snapped. So I put them in like this. And what I do is what I often did in the past, but I didn't do this way, is I'd put them in like this and then I'd pour boiling water over it, okay? But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put it in one way. I'm going to take it out and put it in the other way, okay? And that will loosen both ends, because eventually these start to bend, okay? I'm going to put all the snap ones in. Eventually these will start to bend in. So gradually they'll start to loosen and bend. And as they start to loosen and bend, I put more and more in. Okay? Again, if I think, you know, it's doing it, what I can do is I can take it out, so it's bent a bit, and I can turn it upside down quickly, and then put the other side in again, and it will start to bend, okay? Until eventually all of it will just go in, okay? I stupidly took the spatula downstairs, which is a bit of a stupid thing to do. So, gradually, as you can see, it's all now pretty much going in. Okay, and it's bendable now, so because it's bendable I can now drop it in. I have to be very careful, okay, otherwise I'll burn my hands, okay? And it's just this bit that's stuck. And there you go, the water is now covering the water is now covering the spaghetti, okay? Let's now just leave that alone for about 10 or 15 minutes. And then that will be ready, okay? In a minute, I'm going to quickly wash the plate, because it had the minced beef on. I'm going to quickly wash the plate in a minute, and then put the plate over here to warm the plate, okay? Once the spaghetti started to cook a bit more, I'll turn it down and I'll put the plate on, okay? To warm the plate, okay? Right, now, earlier I put a plate onto the saucepan to warm it, okay? And I believe it's probably mostly ready now. So I'm going to switch it off. And I'm going to show you, while it's doing this, I'm going to show you the cheese. Now this was the cheese I used before for something else. In one of my last videos, it said grated Parmigiano Reggiano, I can't pronounce it, and that says Parmesan, okay? And this is another one by Tesco's, it says Parmigiano Reggiano. So it's basically, this is Parmesan as well, okay? It's just different names for Parmesan, okay? Right, so I'm going to open this one. Okay, because there's not much left in the other one. So I'm going to open this one. And they say cut here. I'm just going to use a fork. Maybe this. Oh, it's got some sort of resealable thing on. Sometimes I do things like this where they make it so it will open easily and close easily. So, okay. Yep, it's got one of those reseal things on it. So that's the cheese, which will be sprinkled on the food in a moment. Okay, I'm going to put that aside for now. And now I'm going to move this along, switch it off and move this along. I know this is not ideal how to do this, but it's just a pain in the neck. And now I'm going to put the plate down. And now I'm going to take out the spaghetti. Now normally I just drain it, to be honest, but instead I'm going to just put it on like this. I know this is a terrible way of doing it, but it's damned awkward to film up here, you know. I know this is very difficult, but it's just terrible trying to film this kind of thing on your own. Right, I'll get the other bits out later, okay? That'll do for now, okay? So that's the spaghetti. Okay, I'm going to take this pan downstairs. So that's the spaghetti, okay? I'm going to bring the meat and put it on top, and then I'm going to put the cheese on, and then I'm going to eat it, okay? I'll move that back a bit. Okay, right, now I've got the frying pan from downstairs. Any excess spaghetti I put into the frying pan, just so I could bring it upstairs, not because it's a good idea, just. And now I'm going to pour this over the spaghetti. Pour's probably not the right word, but practically is. So, you know, if I just answer this for a minute. And there you go. That is spaghetti bolognese. Now, I just need to sprinkle some parmesan over the top. As I said, that's the parmesan. And I just tap it. And there you go, guys, cooked spaghetti bolognese, okay? And now I'm going to eat it, okay? And before I do, I'm just going to finish off what was left of, so I used 2 or 3 days ago, okay? That's just to finish it off, okay? Now I can just stir this around a bit. And there you go. And that's spaghetti bolognese, okay? And now I'm going to eat it. I turn it round, the foot round in, to pick up the spaghetti and add some meat sauce. Of course, it's a terrible way of doing it, but... And if you are a Muslim or you're scared of alcohol, just simply omit the wine, okay? A lot of people cheat, okay? And you can buy bolognese sauce in a jar over here, okay? I tried to use all the proper ingredients, but you can buy bolognese sauce in a jar. Where all you do is you heat the meat, pour over a jar of bolognese sauce, cook it with the meat, separately cook the spaghetti, and then basically put the spaghetti on a plate followed by the rest of it, okay? Because a lot of people don't like doing it all from scratch like I did, using raw ingredients. I know that I used plum tomatoes in a tin, but you know, they are Italian style, to my knowledge, probably even Italian plum tomatoes, so there you go. This is practically it. Now I don't like wasting food, so I often use my fingers to scoop up the excess at the end. And this isn't the cut finger, by the way. That's the cut finger, okay? So there you go, guys. Spaghetti Bolognese. Thanks for watching. Bye.